I do. I didn't get the flags out yet because I could rush into court.
Okay. It's okay. I just want to make sure nobody... Oh, crap.
Yes. I'm in front of the federal courthouse. It's just moments into the recess right after we went into recess here for lunch. We have a lot to tell here. I wrote some notes today. So Ammon Bundy is supposed to take the stand here sometime after lunch, the way things are planned. There was some procedures that went on that the judge cleared the courtroom of all the public, and she sealed some procedure that went on that we don't know about just yet.
Do you want any fruit, John?
Sure, I'll just French fries.
French fries?
Yeah, that's it. French fries and a drink. That's
Can't
it.
be that healthy.
I'm not too hungry at this moment.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. It says my connection is weak, so I'm going to walk away to try to update you guys on what happened today. There was a lot that happened, and I took down some notes today. The judge has been demanding that the defense team notify her of all the witnesses that they plan to call, or she was going to rest the case. And so she's been putting a lot of pressure. So the day the defense team named out approximately 35-40 witnesses that they plan to use. After they named the names, the judge said she wasn't going to allow all these witnesses, that she wasn't going to take the jury's time like this. A lot of corruption going on. A whole lot of corruption going on up here. So we had Fire Chief Chris Briles. He took the witness stand today. The government objected to probably half or more of the questions that were being offered. We still got a lot of good testimony out of them. Mumford made a couple of really good points that needed to be brought up, such as people that were armed and a lot of the FBI agents and government officials that were around town that was unusual. Another point that he made was that Judge Grassi refused to let them use the community building and put a stop to it, and would not let the community get together to try to work out these situations. Also, Fire Chief Chris Briles brought up the point that Ammon wanted to go home and he wanted to have this meeting so that they could turn this over into the committee of safety that had been established there in Burns. But Judge Grassi was denying them that. He said they could use a barn or a field somewhere there in Harney County. And if we know the weather during January was below freezing and sometimes even 20 below zero. So they wasn't even, the government there, the local government, was not trying to work with the citizens of Harney County. That was brought up in court today. We also had, what was her name? Tyler? Lindsay Tyler? Lindsay Tyler. I understand there's a couple of names, couple of Tylers that possibly are going to witness. So this was Lindsay Tyler. She's from Burns. She gave a testimony. Another David Fry's mom and dad was in court today, and William Fry gave a testimony on the behalf of the defense and his son. He brought up how his family was a long line of military personnel, mainly in the Marines, high standing in the community, that he did not want his son to go to Burns when he heard about it, but now he totally supports the cause, totally supports his son, and is very proud of David Frye. A very good testimony. His mom and dad are total support. I got to shake their hand here today and hug his mom. That was an awesome experience since I've got to visit David Frye so much. We had a guy that I don't have his name wrote down, but he took a video of where he witnessed and a few other witnesses witnessed a ranch that was on fire and that the cows were being burnt. The government and the judge tried to keep that hush as much as they could. They did not want that brought into evidence. It was the judge today. She coughed a couple of different times trying to stop different testimonies and trying to get the government's attention to object. She also rolled her eyes several times, obviously upset or aggravated at what the defense was bringing forth. And in one of the first recesses we had at 10:30, Mumford stood up and pretty much chewed out the judge very thoroughly. Said that she was trying to hide the truth and she was covering up these lies that the government had to put in. Let me see here, some more of my notes. The judge tried to excuse one of the witnesses, Chris Briles, before the defense even had a chance, and then the cross-examined. And then she seemed aggravated that Mumford wanted to ask that witness more questions. I've just seen one thing after another today where the government's trying to cover up the corruption. They're trying to keep these witnesses from being a part of the case, trying to exclude them, trying not to allow them. If you realize the government had over 50, and I think the number might have been 51 agents, BLM, FBI agents on the stand. They took 2 days to go over guns and ammunition. One whole day they took on just ammunition, showing how bullets, this bullet would do this and that ballistic and this bullet would do that, things that the juror will never remember or understand unless you're someone that owns guns. And even someone that owns guns, most people don't get into the details that the government brought into the guns. And then they're not allowing witnesses because they say they don't want to take the jurors' time up, but they're allowing bullets and guns and stuff to be brought in that could have took an hour to do instead of 2 days. Let me look at my notes here a minute again. So far we've had almost a dozen witnesses on the stand. We've had one Native American woman that lives over near Burns that went out there. We've had a fire chief. We have coming up Congresswoman Michelle from Nevada. We have Sheriff Mack that's being called as a witness. He looks like he might be on the stand by Thursday. We also have Jeanette Finicum that's possibly going to be on the stand this week. Ammon Bundy is supposed to take the stand sometime here after lunch, about 1:30. The judge has been belittling the defense team and putting a lot of pressure on them. They have had their stuff together. They've done really well. Their witnesses have been qualified witnesses. The prosecution has had very little to no questions for these witnesses that the defense team has brought up. Lisa Bundy was in tears after this break. She had broke down They are, not letting her see Ammon. They're keeping her, not giving her proper visitations, and it was very emotional and hard on her to see how they're treating him. They given him almost no access to his lawyer. They told his lawyer Mumford and Ammon if they wanted to have access that they could do it in the presence of the team there in the courtroom. Looks like Deborah Sue made it down here today, and she knows the truth. I like your sign. Lee Rice here, this gentleman, he just came out of court. I haven't got all the details from him, but he said his court date went really good today. I am actually ashamed of our government today, the way they acted. They are obviously trying to hide something. They do not want the jury to find out what's going on. They're trying to do everything behind the scenes and keep this information from coming out. Looking at my notes here real quick to see what else I had here. I was really impressed with the defense team today and the witnesses they called, and we've got some more good witnesses coming up, and I'm looking forward to hearing Ammon Bundy here on the witness stand here after a while. So some of the witnesses that were named that's coming up is Congresswoman Michelle, Sheriff Mack, and Jeanette Finicum. They should all take the stand this week also. So Congresswoman Michelle is here in Portland today. I haven't seen her personally, but she is here and is prepared to take the stand this week. And Jeanette Finicum will be here supposedly by Thursday, along with Sheriff Mack. Barbara Berg, Lee Rice was in court over a incident involving the Oregon State Police on I-84. Do you know some of that information?
He has a video on about it.
He has a video. I know it's on YouTube.
Beat down on I-84.
It's called Beat Down on I-84. They, I know it's was involving some drugs, but he did not have any drugs in the vehicle.
He just took it to the Ninth Circuit Court.
It's in the Ninth Circuit Court, and he is winning his case right now. He's a pretty smart individual. I got a lot I can learn from him. So this is Mr. Chris Briles. How you doing, sir?
All right.
I appreciate it. I'm John Lamb. I'm from Montana.
Yes, you are.
So I've been over here since the 9th.
I've been watching your walks.
Well, thanks. I'm doing a little update here on what happened in court today. Do you have anything to say about it, or maybe you don't want to right now? You don't have to.
There's a less than friendly atmosphere there in the court.
There definitely is.
And there is a tremendous effort to keep people from speaking. And
that's sad to see when it's bluntly that they're not wanting anybody to say nothing.
all you got to do is be able to just speak a fact. And I don't know why they don't understand why facts shouldn't be presented.
Seemed like to me today they shut down about half or more of your questions that they were trying to ask you. Mm-hmm. They didn't let you answer most everything. They just kept objecting and shutting you down.
I got a few things in there, though.
You did. You done really well. I was proud of you, sir. So I wished I'd got to meet you sooner, but I'm glad for the chance to do that today.
All right. Well,
thank you, sir.
They ordered me a cheeseburger, so that's important.
That is important. I haven't either.
I wasn't supposed to testify today.
I didn't think so.
I just had walked out of Powell Bookstore, and they said, "Can you get here right now?" And so I hauled my wrinkled old butt over here real quick. And that's why I was sweating. I was not nervous. I was sweating because I'm an old fart.
I seen you you'd been running. So,
yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for what you've done, and thanks a lot, sir.
All right.
That was Chris Briles. He's the former chief fire chief that resigned from over there in Burns, Oregon. I see Deborah J is on here. Hello, Deborah J. We love you. We think about you a lot. I'll see if Mr. Lee here has anything to say to us in a minute. I talked to him yesterday. He is, Lee Rice is an amazing guy. He's standing over here with Roger.
I show my stuff.
Roger's been coming down here every day, talking to us, and he's the former prosecuting attorney here in Portland, Oregon. Roger's an amazing guy. Roger offered me his home to stay in if times that I don't have a place to stay. So Roger and Lee looks like they have made friends.
Political prisoner.
I wore my jail scrubs again today. I'll turn this around, let you see it. They, yes, I'll get some of this there.
After my mother chased the judge out, the judge ordered my arrest when I tried to speak in the court. It's something I had a right to do, and my mother was standing right there alongside, said, "You're going to arrest me too?" with her fist clenched. And the guards, "No, I'm not going to arrest you." And she said, "Where is he?" And I saw my mother, arms swinging, going out of Judge Ed Peterson's courtroom. And when she came back, she was panting. I said, "Did you catch him, Mother?" "No, he got away." But that mother was, my father was during World War II, he was the civil defense director for Southeast Portland. When there would be a brownout, or I said, he went from being a fire captain to being an emperor. He ruled the city as the head of during those attacks. And so that's the culture that I came from.
But you're like a former prosecutor, right? So you
yes,
know what to do.
I went into the district attorney's office. I was the government. The judges used to come in and sit in my office asking my advice, my opinion on this. And I've had judges, when I first got into this, Arno Denicky, the former chief judge of the Oregon Supreme Court, came up to my place. And I thought my problems were over. He said he was too old to get involved. Other judges that I knew that I had as instructors, "Oh, you're going to fight him, huh, Roger? This ought to be interesting." Judges telling me that, and I was stunned. I caught this little treacherous, thieving attorney, red-handed, doing it as his terminally ill partner, stealing all this property, and I thought, well, I start telling the judges the name. I mentioned these other attorneys. I was on inactive status, so I had to get other attorneys involved early on, and when they turned on me.
But that's because there's kind of a private union, right? That's the longest running monopoly ever.
Yes, because what the judges told me was in the early 70s, when the bar created its own insurance company, when they had private carriers, the private carrier would pay off about 50% of the premiums in claims. When the bar created its own insurance company, they pay off about 3 or 4% of the fees in claims. All the rest of it go to other attorneys defending the crooked attorney against their victims. I said, my God, people, you cannot have anything any worse than that. The fellow that Georgia Pacific, Robert Pamplin, I used to office in the Georgia Pacific building 40 years ago. He said that was the reason that Georgia Pacific moved out of Oregon was because of the corruption.
Yeah, well, and the court system is still very corrupt. You know, and I can't believe, how is it that the judges can be acting as possible?
Because people let them do it.
The people.
The people
let them do it.
Yes.
So that means the jury, they got to man up. They have to not be intimidated by these crazy people.
Listen to me, please, people. The courthouse is a place to make a public record. Only if there's some fact disputed do you go before a judge in the trial. If there's no fact disputed, you're entitled to judgment on the pleadings, people. Get that through your head. You can file a complaint. You don't have to be an attorney to file a complaint. It has to be in the right form or the clerk won't accept it. And then when you go to that courtroom, the only way that judge gets jurisdiction over you is if you make a general appearance in an administrative court. You're giving jurisdiction of yourself to that administrative judge. And he is hired to strip you, and if he doesn't, if he goes against the other wolves in sheep's clothing, I said they will strip him. That's the reality of what was going on here in the Oregon court system.
Well, it's not just here in Oregon. It's in Idaho. It's in all the courts.
In the federal courts and every state court, they follow the law.
He trained under Judge Jones in this building.
And they're all legislative, no judicial involved. And what has really driven me is I may have been a part of having that happen. When Judge Harlow Lennon told me that he saw it coming into the early 70s, I was in a group called Campaigners at the time. I was politically, I was interested in political office. So I joined this group called Campaigners. Robert was in it, Frank Betty and Mary Roberts. Vera Katz was in it. Earl Blumenauer was in it. All these people were in it.
I'm standing there.
I know, isn't that awesome?
And when I later confronted Blumenauer used to come down to my office and get campaign money. When I tried to confront him about the corruption, he ran down the stairs with his head held up. No, Roger, no, I don't want to hear it, Roger. I don't want to hear it. This is our representative.
But you know what, Roger? What it all boils down to right now, I love you, man, and I'm glad I'm standing here.
Yes.
We're gonna make it different. Okay?
We are. I said the little Norwegian.
People, you hear that? It's up to us. Wake up.
We are the government. We the people. We are the government. Everyone that's on the public payroll, and all of them are public employees. We have rights. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, are our rights. They have duties, paid duties, to uphold the Constitution. If they can't do it, I said, if they can't do it, quit the job. And we will hire, we will get people in there.
The right people that want to do it.
That will uphold their oath of office. That will protect, that will see that the citizens get due process. That's what this is about.
Due process and equal protection of the law.
Absolutely. That is what, as a citizen, my grandmother worked as an indentured for 6 years to bring her children to this country because of what it offered to her. It offered, and my mother achieved it. She married ended up. I said, Mother, what would you change in your life? Nothing, she said. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, she used to say to this father of mine. But he said to me, he said, leave it better than you found it, son.
Yeah, well, see, and that's what I'm working on too. I want to do that too, because you know.
And I was born in privilege. I said, what would you change about the way you're? Nothing. I said, I was so fortunate to have the parents, that I have, and to leave it them as a legacy. What are we? We're leaving a legacy for our posterity. That's what for every generation is what we need.
We've got some awesome people down here, guys. You need to be down here right now. History's in the making.
And what we have running this system now, a pack of ravenous wolves with the 9/11 attack and the George Bush taking over a police state, Patriot Act, all of this. Yes, it's a.
Dan, it's Lee Rice.
To give them.
I'll tell you a little bit more about him later.
They start arresting you. I've been arrested 23 times.
You got me beat. I'm a black guy.
And they arrested my mother's care provider in my shower, yanked her out of there. Her little girl, but my mommy didn't do it. Don't hurt my mommy. Don't hurt my mommy. Joined us in my house. These paid public police officers doing that, attacking me.
I'll tell them, Tal.
Threatening my parents. This is what we cannot tolerate.
No more. This pattern of behavior.
This is
to separate the violation of separation of powers. All of this needs to end. And you know what? This case can help it end, but we need you guys to wake up out there. Okay?
Yes.
Wake up.
Wake up.
To be alert, to pass on. So
they're waiting for me. I got something. Yeah, I'm done.
You understand?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go.
Okay, well, I'll follow you.
Okay.
Let me shake your hand there, Chris, again. Thanks.
Roger.
Lee.
Pleasure.
Oh, yeah, mine. We'll be in touch. Okay.
I got to go. Okay.
That's what it's about, guys. We've got brothers coming from all over. And that was Lee Rice and Roger. And we've got a handful of people showing up down here. Lee Rice is gonna be on the stand here. He's being subpoenaed up to get up there right now, it looks like. So I'm not gonna go up for a little bit. I'm gonna do a few things downtown, but there's some good things. The judge did say also that the The judge also said that she was going to limit people of the public in the courtroom that had different things on their shirt that would that have anything to do with the Bundys, the occupation. She did not say nothing about my jail scrubs. I usually have political prisoner wrote on the back of them. I decided not to today, and I'm glad I did. I wore one that did not have any writing on it, or I'd have probably been kicked out of the courtroom. But it's going to be a long day yet today. A lot of good things. We need people down here to witness this. This is history in the making. We need more people witnessing this corruption to stop it. This is not only in Portland. This is happening in Montana. This is happening across the whole country. Missouri, California. This kind of stuff needs to stop. Looking at some notes here, I'll try to call in Tal tonight. I'm not for sure what time we're going to stop. 6 o'clock, I think, is when you start, but I will try to call in tonight. Maybe send me another text message, remind me. Lee Rice is a good patriot. He's a good man. I really enjoyed talking to him yesterday. But he's a really good guy. Tyler Cash. Hey, Tyler. How you doing, brother? I'm glad you're on here. You're welcome, Tara. So, I've got some lunch coming. They said more than French fries. All I asked for is French fries.
And you can't live on French fries.
So here's some lunch. What do we got here?
We've got common Swiss on rye.
Okay, I think my wife would approve of that.
With some pickles.
So, okay.
Hi, wife. We're trying to keep him hungry. We're trying to keep him fed.
Everybody's taking care of me down here. I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to sign off of here and eat some lunch. I will try to answer these questions that you have on this thread a little later. I do go over everything at night. It's just been some long days, and so sometimes I don't get all the answers questions answered like I would like to. Thanks, Bruce Cuff. I really appreciate what you're doing. There's a lot of good people on here, and I'll try to update you for sure by tomorrow at noon again at the lunch hour. If I get a chance here after court, I'll tell you what's going on with Ammon's testimony. So anybody can get down here, get down here. This is history in the making.